Ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for April 19th, 2021.
Please
rise for
let's
the
not
pledge.
go back to March.
Yeah, can we not go back?
Get another month out of it. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Simpson. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Raffato?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Chairperson Horker?
Here. You have before you the minutes of the special meeting of March 1st, 2021. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Papantos, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger, roll call.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Citizen concerns and comments?
No.
Awesome. New business, 6A?
New business?
Sorry, yes.
New business?
Yes.
6A, consideration of request for a Class AV liquor license from Louie's Boston Fish Market LLC at 412 North Milwaukee Avenue.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. Before you this evening is a request to change a Class A liquor license to a Class AV liquor license for Boston Fish. They have submitted everything that is necessary and are in compliance with the code. I would ask that any consideration or motion for consideration for this item be made with the condition of passage of an ordinance by the village board, increasing the authorized number of Class AV licenses and decreasing the authorized number of Class A liquor licenses.
Commissioner Papantos, you have a question?
Just one question. Will there be any changes to the hours of operation or anything else? Is it just the addition of the gaming machines?
Correct, just the addition of the gaming machines. We're not aware, it might, there you are.
Sorry.
I'll let him answer.
No hour changes.
So everything's exactly the same except for the machines?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Papantos. Any other questions or concerns? If there are none, we need a motion.
So moved with conditions.
Stated. Well, Kruger recognized the conditions, so we'll give her the motion, and we'll give, was it Commissioner Lang the second?
Sure.
There we
Who
go.
firsted?
Sorry?
Who was first?
Kruger.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Item 6B, annual renewal of liquor license 2021-2022.
Mr. Spondilis.
Thank you. Before you this evening is the annual renewal of all liquor licenses for businesses in our community, with the exception of St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church. In recognition of the impact, as a reminder, the village board has reduced the annual liquor license fees by half for the 2021-2022 license year and has allowed businesses to delay payment of liquor license fees until August 31st, 2021. Any consideration by motion for this item, I would ask be conditioned upon one, the submittal of good order of all application materials, satisfactory background check results for all responsible parties, the payment of any outstanding food and beverage tax, and finally, payment of all applicable liquor license fees prior to September 1st, 2021.
Commissioner Papantos, you had a comment?
If someone is behind in the outstanding food and beverage tax, do we have any other recourse besides that they're not going to get a liquor license?
You can pursue the revocation of business license as well. That's another recourse we have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Papantos. Any other questions or concerns? If there are none, need a motion
So moved with conditions?
Commissioner Papantos, second.
Second.
Commissioner Kruger, roll call, please.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. C.
Item C, renewal of the Class E liquor license for St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church 2021 to 2022.
Mr. Spondulis.
Thank you. Very similar to the item previously passed, this item is segregated simply to allow for a member of the commission to abstain from a vote. This comes with the same 4 conditions. First being the submittal in good order of all application materials. Second, satisfactory background check results for all responsible parties. Third, the payment of any outstanding food and beverage tax. And 4, payment of all applicable liquor license fees prior to September 1st, 2021.
Questions or comments? If there are none, need a motion as outlined.
So moved.
Commissioner Raffato, second. Commissioner Lang. Roll call.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
I'll abstain. I'm a member of St. Joe's.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes, that concludes our business. We need a
No,
motion
one
to...
more.
What?
One more.
No, we got one more.
You're right. Thank you.
Item D,
That's why you're...
consideration of automatic temporary emergency licenses for all Class A, B, and C liquor licenses holders to allow the delivery of alcoholic liquor for off-premise consumption in conjunction with a food order.
Mr. Spondulis?
Thank you. This is simply a matter of record keeping. Last year, in an attempt to assist the restaurants, the commission created an exception for restaurants, any license holder to be able to sell packaged liquor as a means for our restaurants to get some additional business in addition to their food service. This is just papering over the exact same thing, continuing the program that was started last year in order to cover us for the next license year. Again, as discussed last year, this would expire as soon as businesses are allowed to operate at 100% capacity. And it comes with the longest condition that I have to read into record that I've ever had to do. Ready? Okay.
Go get them.
I would ask that the motion be made to approve an automatic temporary emergency license for all Class A, AV, A1, A1V, B, BV, B1. I thought I was getting punked. B1V, C, CV, and CLC license holders to allow the sale of alcoholic liquor for off-premises consumption in conjunction with a food order, subject to compliance with all conditions and requirements of a Class D4 license and all associated regulations passed by the village board, which shall be in effect for the duration of the gubernatorial disaster proclamation or until liquor licenses are allowed to operate, licensees are allowed to operate at 100% capacity.
Can I have a motion to that?
So moved.
So moved what he said.
I'll give the motion to Trustee Commissioner Vogel and the second to Commissioner Kruger. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Raffato?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Now? That's the end of our regular business for the Liquor Commission for this evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Trustee Commissioner Vogel, second Commissioner Raffato. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're all in person, we can do that. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Village of Wheeling for Monday, April 19th, 2021. Clerk Simpson, your last roll call, please.
Commissioner Raffato?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner no, trustees. Let's do it again. Trustee Raffato? Trustee Kruger?
I'm here.
Present.
Trustee Lang?
Still here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
President Horker.
Yep. You have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of
Go ahead.
April 5th. How long have you been doing this? It's going to be hard, isn't it?
Go ahead.
Okay. You have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of April 5th, 2021. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second.
Trustee Rufato. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes this evening.
Clerk Simpson. Proclamations, congratulatory resolutions, and awards.
Which ones? Okay. Proclamations. National Volunteer Week, April 18th through April 24th, 2021. The Village of Wheeling is proud of the volunteers who not only serve the community with pride and commitment, but also help to make sure that the community is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. The entire community can inspire, equip, and mobilize people to take action that changes the world. Volunteers can connect with local community service opportunities through hundreds of community service organizations. Individuals and communities are at the center of social change, discovering their power to make a difference. During this week, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. The giving of oneself in service to another empowers both the giver and the recipient. Experience teaches us that government by itself cannot solve all of our nation's social problems. Our country's volunteer force of over 63 million is a great treasure. Volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive community and nation. Patrick Corker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim April 18th through the 24th as National Volunteer Week in Wheeling and urges fellow citizens to volunteer in their respective communities, since by volunteering and recognizing those who serve, we can come together to make a difference.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson.
Okay, Arbor Day,
Arbor Day.
April 30th, 2021. In 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a second day be set aside for the planting of trees. This day, the last Friday in April, referred to as Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Trees can reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, reducing heating and cooling costs, moderating the ambient temperature, limiting carbon dioxide, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. Trees are a renewable resource used in countless paper and wood products, providing wood for our homes and fuel for our fires. Trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Patrick Corker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim April 30th as Arbor Day and urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to plant, maintain, and protect our trees and woodlands. Joseph Licari?
Mr. Licari.
Okay. Joseph Licari Day, April 20th, 2021. Joseph Licari joined the Wheeling Police Department as a patrol officer in 1990. Joseph Licari has served as a patrol officer, investigator, sergeant, commander, and deputy chief. Joseph Licari has been recognized in 21 departmental commendations and 2 life-saving awards. Joseph Licari has helped moderate the Village of Wheeling's 911 center and records management system. Joseph Licari, throughout his 30 years of service, has exhibited outstanding dedication to his profession and to the residents of the Village of Wheeling. Joseph Licari's devotion to professional law enforcement, dedication to the service of others, loyalty to this village, and responsiveness to the needs of our residents distinguishes him as an exemplary public servant. Deputy Chief Joseph Licari will always be remembered as a valued member of our Village of Wheeling team. Patrick Corker, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim Tuesday, April 20th, 21 as Joseph Licari Day in the Village of Wheeling. We are most grateful for the many contributions Joe has made during his 30 years in public service and extend our best wishes for many years of good health and happiness during his retirement and future endeavors.
Hear me? 30 years. In one spot.
We need a mic.
We need a, I'm sorry. please step up to the microphone. Over the course of 30 years, you've been involved in a lot of different departments, and your impact in the station, in the development of the force, is going to be felt probably for decades to come. It's so wonderful and unusual to have somebody be a part of an organization for this long. Sincerely, thank you for all that you've given. I want to thank your family for sharing you with us. I'm guessing that's your family?
Yes.
I hope that's your family. Can you introduce who's here with you?
Sure. This is my wife, Jolene, my daughter, Gabriella, Sophia, and my son, Joey.
Awesome. We have a little plaque. It's just a token of our appreciation of your service. And of course, honorary street sign. Chief, please, you have probably much more you can say about it.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank Joe for his over 30 years of service to the Village of Wheeling. He always took the mission seriously. He always took the wishes of this board that represents our citizens, their desires, the type of policing they wanted in our community. And from the time of being a patrolman up to the point where he was an executive in the organization and a decision maker, he was able to execute extremely well what we needed to do in this community. And with all the social strife in the nation and in various communities and things we're worried about tonight, there's a reason we're not really experiencing it here in this community. Joe and the men before you and the women not here are the reason for that. And Joe's a real big reason for it. And I thank you for the 5 years I've had the opportunity to work with you. You've never let us down. John said if I made you cry, I get points, but I might do it first. So with that, I just want to thank you and good luck in your future endeavors and anything you want to say.
Yes, I just want to, I know this is my day, but I just want to thank everybody. You don't go to the same job for 30 years if you don't love what you do. I loved every moment of it. I'll miss it. But you also don't go to the same place if you don't love who you work with. And the men and women before you are the reason I came to work every day. And like the chief said, although I'm a little worried about what I hear every day about our future in law enforcement, I don't worry about the Wheeling Police Department. Chief Dunn has set this place up for continued success, and that's because of, again, the men and women that you stand before you. So thank you to the village board. I consider you all friends. Thank you for my time here. I really appreciate it. And now that they took the street sign down, I hope property values will rise again.
Jen, you want to help him with that?
Help him with the sign. Oh, sure. Take care of the sign. Sure, I can do it. I can do that.
No appointments, no confirmations, no administrations of oath. Clerk Simpson. How long have you been here, Clerk Simpson? How long have you been here?
24 years.
24 years.
Don't make me cry.
I won't make you cry. I do, however, have
Yes,
a
you will.
proclamation. Whereas Elaine E. Simpson served as clerk of the Village of Wheeling from May 5th, 1997 until her retirement on May 3rd, 2021. And whereas, during her time as village clerk, Elaine Simpson has worked diligently to assure that the Village of Wheeling conducts its business and maintains its records with transparency and consistency and treats all of its citizens and stakeholders with fairness and respect. And whereas, in addition to her duties as clerk, her distinguished personal career, Elaine Simpson has demonstrated exemplary citizenship through her civic engagement, participating actively in organizations including but not limited to Wheeling Helping Hands, St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church, the Wheeling Senior Foundation, the Village of Wheeling Special Events Commission, Wheeling Garden Club, Wheeling Historical Society, and its Lollipop Lane winter holiday events, serving as Wheeling's liaison to Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. And whereas Elaine Simpson's unwavering kindness and her compassionate dedication to her family, her neighbors, her life of public service set an inspirational standard for the entire village community. Now, therefore, I, Patrick Corker, President of the Village Wheeling, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2021, as Elaine E. Simpson Day in the Village of Wheeling, and I extend the village's thanks to Elaine Simpson for her years of service. I wish her well in her continued involvement in the community, and I call upon the residents of Wheeling to join in honoring her tenure as our village clerk. Thank you, Ms. Simpson. We have these glass things, we can't hand these around, but we do have a framed certificate of appreciation for you, your recognition. And
I'll put that in St. Joe's on the calendar where I am.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
We'll put this here.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
thank you, Clerk Simpson.
Should I do the consent agenda?
We have a card for you, too.
Should I do the consent agenda?
Sure. You okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Consent
We
agenda.
made sure that you had Kleenex just in case.
I have it here right. Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event that item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A. Resolution waiving competitive bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of radio and associated equipment for the Emergency Operations Center, EOC, from Radiocom Incorporated at a cost not to exceed $50,219. Item 11B, resolution establishing compensation plans of the Village of Wheeling for the period May 1st, 2021 through August 30th, 2022. Item 11C, resolution approving the purchase of a paid-up life insurance policy for certain former village employees. Item 11D, resolution approving a contract with the RJN Group for sanitary sewer evaluation services in an amount not to exceed $75,000. Item 11E, resolution accepting and approving a contract with Anthony Roofing for the fiscal year 2021 roof replacement program in the amount of $287,575. Resolution 11F, resolution accepting and approving a proposal from the McBrady Associates Incorporated for contract administration and construction inspection services for the 2021 roof replacement program in an amount not to exceed $35,000. Item 11G, resolution authorizing the village manager to waive a portion of the 2021-2022 video gaming terminal fees for Philip Carpenter of Post 66 Amvet Building Corporation, a not-for-profit entity. 11H, resolution approving the use of a revised consolidated application in support of the consideration of Cook County's Classes 6, 7, and C-Tax incentive program for property located within the Village of Wheeling.
Do we have any concerns or questions? If there are none, I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Rufato, second trustee Papantos. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. If we could go back just a moment, I'm guessing we had no citizens' concerns or comments?
Huh?
No citizens' concerns or
Oh, no, there weren't any.
Okay. Just wanted to
Okay.
make sure.
Okay, 13A,
Yes, please.
resolution approving the fiscal year 2022 budget for Chicago Executive Airport.
Mr. Spondilis, what do we have here?
Thank you. I am going to introduce Executive Director Jamie Abbott and Finance Director Jason Griffith to present to you the Chicago Executive Airport 2021-2022 fiscal year budget. Jamie?
Good evening, sir. Can the mask come off when you're at the podium? Good evening, President Horker, Board of Trustees. Thank you for having us on the agenda tonight for the budget once again. I've got with me Finance Director Jason Griffith, and we've got a small presentation if you'd like to see it. If not, we can kind of roll in with any questions, but I think we got that ready. I think Luca, maybe? There we go. Awesome. So just a quick quick rundown here, 5 or 6 slides, and then we'll open it up to any questions that you may have on the budget. I'll do a couple slide introduction to the budget, and then I'll turn it over to Jason for some kind of highlights of the budget this evening. Just 3 of our goals going out for pretty much each budget that we put together every year. First thing is to maintain financial self-sufficiency at the airport. We're proud of that. We've been able to do that since the communities purchased the airport in the 80s. And hopefully the 2 communities that own the airport are proud of that as well. What that means is that we generate enough funds on the airport through fuel, through land leases and so forth, to generate the revenues that we need to operate the airport and meet our capital needs. So we're proud of that, and hopefully you are as well. The second thing is to always meet our capital needs and our operational needs of the airport, and we've been able to do that as well. And just kind of finally, we always have in mind to be the best GA airport in the country, and that's always on our mind when we go and set forth the budget as well. I'll go through a quick timeline of what we've done this year. We started a little bit earlier than last year even, so staff starts talking about the budget the end of the calendar year in December, and then we roll into, normally it's February, but we started in January this year with the board of directors with really highlights and goals and so forth, and then take that discussion, then roll into the February meeting with an actual draft budget. We discuss the draft budget at a workshop, and then we roll into March with an actual final budget for the airport board to approve. Of course, per the IGA, the approval doesn't stop at the airport. That's really just a recommendation to both the Village of Wheeling and the City of Prospect Heights for final approval. The City of Prospect Heights went first this year. They approved it last Monday. Sometimes it goes the other way around. So we're here before you tonight with the final approval of the budget. So with that, I'm going to introduce Jason. He's done a great job again this year. Jason, you want to take it over and cover some highlights of the budget?
Scroll down. Okay, sorry. Thank you. A few highlights of the fiscal year 2022 budget. After reserve fund transfers, the FY22 budget is scheduled to have a net income of $30,250. The revenues for the FY22 budget are actually an all-time high at just over $5.1 million. This increase is driven by a new long-term lease, an increase to the Jet A fuel flowage, and other fee increases, including an updated U.S. Customs fee schedule. Operating expenses are scheduled to be about a little over $3.8 million, and a lot of this is driven by Hangar 5 and 6 utilities. Last year was the first year that we had taken that building over, so we trued up some of the utility costs after 1 year of experience. And then U.S. Customs changed how they charge all user fee airports across the country to the true cost of the officer, so operationally our expenses increased. The airport has two in addition to some of the other things, we have 2 things that we have to follow. Airport business plan says that we have to keep 25% of budgeted operating expenses on hand. That number would be $954,000 this year. We're scheduled to have a little over $3.1 million at the end of fiscal year 2022. The debt that the airport has a covenant in it that requires that we keep 180 days of budgeted operating expenses on hand. That's a little over $1.8 million, and again, the $3.1 million at the end of the fiscal year is sufficient to cover that. This reserve funds mentioned earlier. The sewer reserve fund is scheduled to grow this year. All sewer charges on the airport go directly into the sewer reserve fund. The building and land reserve fund is also scheduled to grow. The vehicle and equipment reserve fund, the airport is planning on purchasing a new large snow blower. The one we have in service is from 1990, so it's just time for it to be replaced. So and a new Airport 8. So there's a slight reduction in that fund at the end of the year, but that piece of equipment is vital to snow operations. The capital repair and demo fund is our newest fund. We're growing that right now. It's budgeted to be 5% of long-term lease revenues and hangar 5 and 6 permit fees. And that's for any eventual large capital hangar repairs or, if need be, demolishing the hangar. The major capital A projects for fiscal year 2022 are the continuation of the RCIP program and a rehabilitation of airfield lighting. We'll turn it back over to you for any questions and comments.
Thank you, Jason. President Horker, with any questions?
Yes, Trustee Papantos, and then Trustee Lang,
Thank you.
and Trustee Rufato.
A couple questions. One thing you mentioned, I don't know if this is Jason or Jamie, so feel free, whoever, the Building and Reserve Fund. What exactly is that for? The Building and Land Fund?
Yeah, that fund's designed for any buildings that the airport builds itself, which isn't typically the case. A lot of times our tenants build their hangars, or for any additional land purchases that the airport might want to make.
Okay, because you're kind of locked in there, and we've noticed lately that Waste Management is taking up a lot of land around the airport, so.
And it's outside of industrial, yes.
Yes, you might be low on that. Okay. In the budget, there is an increase to the line item for Board of Directors and community reimbursement. And I know I brought this up last year. The amount, the reimbursement, the stipend amount is dictated by the IGA. The IGA is an intergovernment agreement between Wheeling and Prospect Heights. Could we please just follow the IGA in the future so I don't have to bring this up again?
Yes, ma'am. That was a carryover from last year, and the philosophy was to build a little bit in case the, adjustment to the IGA, but you're right, we'll wait for the adjustment to the IGA before putting that additional in.
It's not that hard to do an amendment budget.
Sure.
I think Director Kaplan can attest to that we can do an amendment to a budget. One of the things I noticed on the budget is the customs facility, and it looks like the revenue generated will be higher than the expenses. And I know there's part of it is debt service in there. What happens if we do significantly go over on revenue? Is there a policy for the airport that any significant amount of revenue generated by the customs facility and its operations that's above expenses, and the debt service will go towards paying down debt service at a faster rate? Have you set a policy yet?
There's no set policy at this time. The U.S. Customs operation numbers have not bounced back. So once that takes place, we can bring to our board a policy to do exactly that if revenues are high enough to pay down the debt service faster.
Because how long is that debt for?
It's a
Was that a 20?
10-year revenue note, but payments are on a 20-year amortization schedule.
Okay. So it just seems to me to make sense to pay it down quicker if you can to save the money and the interest rate. Can we talk about the master plan really quickly? Some basic questions that I had were, how much is the total expected cost of the master plan? How much, if any, have we, the airport, received in payback from FAA and state? And what is the total amount expected? And when will we get money back if we haven't?
Sure. I'll just kind of start a little bit.
Backwards is fine.
Yeah, a little bit backwards. The airport started the master plan several years ago to provide a forward vision to development of the airport. The last master plan was done about 30 years ago, so it was long overdue. The board authorized kind of the top end of about a 1.5 million. Build to date, and we're at the tail end of the master plan. The only thing left is really the AOP approval. So build to date is just shy of 1.4 million, so 1.39. We expect it to really cap out at 1.4, so we're still a good $100,000 underneath what the board authorized for the master plan. As far as reimbursement, FAA looks at this in a couple ways. Well, Phase 2, they actually entered into an agreement with the airport that they would split, the state would split the cost of Phase 2 50/50, and we expect those funds here in the next couple months. As far as the rest of the master plan, Phases 1, 2, and 3, the FAA will deem that eligible for reimbursement to the tune of 90% federal, 5% state. Once we complete the master plan, and really the master plan is considered complete when you get the AOP, the airport layout plan, approved by the FAA. So we're at that point right now in the project. The FAA has the AOP. They've made comments back to the airport. We've received those comments, and CMT, our consultant, is working with us to respond. We have responded to those initial comments. So approval of the AOP could come any day now, literally in the next month or two. So that kind of signals the end. And then what we do is we take that AOP and we program a project associated with it with the state of Illinois. So our 5-year capital plan includes taxiway projects and so forth that is associated with the new ALP, and we have those on the schedule. I would anticipate once the ALP is approved, the state will recognize that, and they'll award us probably a first taxiway project associated. Cleaning up taxiway Kilo where it intersects 624 and so forth. That could probably happen late this fall, early next year. And that would be a legit project to tell the FAA, okay, the airport's completed their master plan, they've got an approved ALP, they now have a project associated with the ALP. That should trigger reimbursement, and that should trigger the reimbursement of basically 95% of the cost of the master plan.
So it's after the completion of that project, though?
I would say after, just to be fair.
Okay. And one of the major things that we see budgeted for is the RSIP program, the Residential Sound Insulation Program. Can you give a brief description of where we stand on that and how it's going, how long it's going to take, or what's happening with it?
Sure. Yeah, just a quick update on that. There are funds dedicated in the capital side of the budget for that program. This is a program that the FAA is participating with us. It's called the Residential Sound Insulation Program, or the RSIP, and we've been talking about this for a while. We're finally at the point where we're doing the Phase 1 of the program, which is kind of the trial run, so to speak. The consultant has finally gone out and actually noise tested this first round of homes, which is about 25 to 30 homes in total, both in the village of Wheeling and the city of Prospect Heights. And we're waiting on those test results from the sub-consultant. Once we get those test results, that's really the final determination on whether a home is eligible for the program or not. So basically, the sound inside the home has got to be, the noise levels have got to meet a criteria which makes it eligible for noise treatment. So we're waiting on those results. We should have those in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we kind of move from there and notify the homeowner. And that's when we move on to design and construction, which should happen this summer and fall on those first round of homes. So we're excited to see that happen. I know we've been talking about this for quite some time, but that'll be really the exciting part of this whole program.
And just to toot the airport's horn, so to speak, this is one of either the only one or one of very few GA airports in the country to get this type of program?
Yeah, very few. There are other GA airports that have gone into this program, and that's one of the reasons we selected CNS to run our program, is because they have experience in pretty much one of the very few GA airports that have gotten into this program. It's usually a program that's dedicated to large commercial service airports like O'Hare and Midway and so forth. But we thought it was a great program to be a good neighbor to the both communities that surround the airport.
And just to clarify, there was a resident here from the Plum Creek condos at our last meeting and was concerned because they weren't being tested.
Sure.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, Plum Creek is what's considered a multi-family unit building, so to speak. The guidance from the ACRP, I don't want to get too far into regulations and so forth, but the FAA really takes the advice of the ACRP, which is a study this type of program. And really the guidelines or the best practices are, one of those is that you treat single-family homes before you treat multifamily buildings. Unfortunately, there's both towns are different. The Village of Wheeling has a lot of single-family homes that are potentially eligible. And when we went to the Prospect Heights side, there are no single-family homes on the Prospect Heights side that are eligible. So they only have multifamily. So that's kind of the mix match of this first round and how it's going. I can say that those are guidelines. And in our discussions with the FAA, if we can convince them that Plum Creek is in the highly impacted area next to the airport, can we get them sooner than later? I'm definitely going to have those discussions with the FAA.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Lang and then Trustee Rufato. Trustee Lang.
Thank you. I wanted you to present on the RSIP while we were, but you did a great job recapping where we're at on that. Talk about Plum Creek. Ms. Ritchie was here last meeting, and she talked to the board, especially afterwards, about issues and so on. But one thing I'd like you to mention is one of the things that we did do proactively almost immediately when we found out it was an issue was the run-up pad on right at the edge of runway 16 there. So if you...
Yeah, sure. So the main runway, 1634, has two run-up pads, one on each end. So an aircraft can run up and do their checks before they take off. Well, the 1-6 run-up pad, which is on the north side of the airport, right next to Plum Creek, it just seemed really inappropriate to keep having an aircraft run up on that pad, especially turbine aircraft that can cause a lot of noise. Mainly engine runs or maintenance runs. So if they're doing a maintenance check on the engines, sometimes they would go to that pad because it really is the best spot in the airport to do that sort of thing. It's isolated. There are no other buildings and so forth around there. But noise is just an issue. So we very technically moved that run-up pad, so no run-ups are able to be performed on that pad. It's just to cut down on the noise on the north end of the airport that really the south end doesn't experience as much.
There's not a lot of things we can control when it comes to flight and noise and so on, but when we do find the things that we can control, like that run-up pad, I mean, you jumped on it immediately, and every now and then there's issues with someone not reading the signage that you put out there.
Right.
Pilot not reading that, but for the most part, it's been working, and those are things that we'll continue to explore, things that we can control.
Definitely.
And so, other than that, I just wanted to mention how, thanks for getting this budget in. Jamie and Jason. Jason was, I never seen a guy work so hard. He's always in the office and leaves late, and he just is punching numbers all the time, and thank you, great budget, and thank you for the hard work, both of you.
Sure.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Rufato.
Thank you. Great presentation, easy to understand, and thank you for that. But one of the things that I wanted to say was that I was at a number of us were at the groundbreaking, supposed groundbreaking of Atlantic, though it's almost up, which is good news, and how they spoke about the relationship that you have, the management team, with the FBOs, specifically Atlantic, and it spoke volumes as to what is happening at the airport, and that's a good thing to hear. That was a very good thing to hear.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Yep. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rufato. So the Trustee Papantos, the disparity in the budget relative to the figures, you want to trust the figures, or you want to just leave it sit?
I believe we can leave as is. You're going to follow the IGA, right? And next year, we're not going to ask this question again because...
Yeah, we'll follow the IGA, and just to clear up any maybe confusion, because it's in the budget doesn't mean that the airport directors get paid any differently. that will require a change to the IGA, so that will have to come back. The reason we did, it's a little more cumbersome for us to amend the budget because we have to first start with the airport and then go to both communities. Not to say it's not impossible, but that was kind of the reasoning behind it. But yes, next year, definitely.
I mean, I can guarantee you any change in the IGA is going to be a little more extensive than just that, so.
And we have no intel to say that we know of any change to the IGA. So.
I think I asked you that earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. Maybe I missed.
Trustee Kruger.
Thank you. The IGA, when is the last time it has been updated?
I think 2013.
2013 was last major update.
Yeah, 2013.
I think we've had minor amendments since then.
Right, so we would probably wait then till we had something more substantial to modify the IGA for, right? I mean, do we have anything that is there reason to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're working on some things to, some language, to put back some language back in there.
Gotcha.
About,
Great. I'm just curious when to expect something like that, because then we can address a couple of birds with one stone, right?
Makes sense.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, during the joint meeting, it was asked that the IGA be reworked, and it was supposed to be, we were going to start, I think it was the joint meeting, we were going to start looking at it for some specific items. There was a meeting.
It wasn't me.
Very good. Thank you.
If we have no other concerns or comments, we do have a budget to approve. We need a motion.
So moved.
Trustee Papantos, second.
Second?
Trustee Lang, is that a yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call.
Clerk Simpson.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Thanks, sir. Congratulations, Clerk Simpson.
Thank you, Dan.
B.
Okay. Item 13B, ordinance amending Title I, General Provisions, Title 13, Water and Sewer, and Title 16, Plumbing Code of the Village of Wheeling Municipal Code in relation to cross-connection controls.
Thank you, President Horker, members of the board. I have before you one item for consideration this evening, which is a municipal code amendment regarding cross-connection control. The village currently tracks about 2,400 backflow prevention devices that separate the village public water distribution system and non-potable systems such as fire suppression sprinklers and lawn sprinklers. The DPH, the Department of Public Health, and the Environmental Protection Agency both recognize the severity of the potential of contaminants, and so they require that all properties that have one of these connection devices be tested annually by a certified licensed plumber. Each municipality is then required to ensure that these devices are inspected and are in good working order in order to prevent these contaminants, such as Legionellas or other harmful bacteria, from entering into the public water supply. Before you is a municipal code amendment that clearly articulates the process by which the village can ensure that property owners comply with this state mandate. The language includes correct staff titles responsible for the program. It eliminates a codified requirement that the property owner have to respond to an annual backflow survey. It outlines a process by which the village can protect the integrity of the water system by disconnecting water service to a property that is in violation of this ordinance after no less than 3 written notices. And importantly, it also adds the opportunity for a property owner to have a hearing with village staff if they believe that the notice of violation was sent in error prior to their water being shut off. Most municipalities have a provision for shut-off for noncompliance in their cross-connection control ordinances. The addition of this hearing will ensure that the village does not incorrectly turn off a property's water service. And finally, it updates the penalty fees associated with noncompliance as well. At any given time, the village has about 10 non-conforming properties that are in need of an RPZ inspection. Staff believes that this update will allow the village to continue to protect the potable water supply while affording affected non-compliant property owners an opportunity for a hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Spondelis, you had something you needed to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to add something. I'd like to give a little credit and just a larger scope explanation. This is not a new program. This is an existing program that's being improved based on something that we went through this year. As Director Kalp said, there's usually a couple of folks that need to be reminded to have their RPZ checked. He brought to my attention and to Attorney Furlow's attention the fact that our process needed to be a little more robust and a little more clearly defined in the code. So that's what's before you. This is not a new program. This is simply trying to make it easier for the public to understand by providing far more clear steps as to what is expected of them and how the process then will go from initial outreach through, if necessary, enforcement. So it builds in opportunities to meet, as you heard, to meet with Director Kalp, to have a face-to-face, an explanation, an opportunity for them to have their voice heard. So I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that this is not a new program. This is simply cleaning up an existing program in order to make it more accessible to the public. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
Trustee Vito.
So what properties is this applicable to? Is this every property that needs one of these things, or how's that determined?
Correct.
And is it potable or potable? I always thought it was potable, but
Sure.
I'll go with potable. I've never actually heard it said out loud. I've just read it. But
Potable.
All right.
Both are acceptable. Any property with a sprinkler, which can include, if you have a lawn care system in your front yard, that has an RPZ. It's a double check valve that disallows water that sits in the pipes on your private side of the water supply from back siphoning based on a pressure differential into the public water supply. So if your system at your home has chemicals because you've treated your lawn with fertilizer, that could get back in. When you hear about downstate, the issues that some community facilities have had with Legionella's disease, that typically arises from stagnant water that sits in wet fire suppression systems that is then back siphoned. Bacteria grows because the chlorine residual has reduced to zero and bacteria has grown. While all of these devices are required to be put in at the time of construction of the facility, a lot of times these check valves, just like anything else that's mechanical, will eventually wear down and not work. So this inspection process, which is required by the state of Illinois, ensures that those devices continue to protect the public supply of water.
So a regular house without a sprinkler system is probably not going to need one.
They would not, no.
Okay.
One of the things that we're also removing from the municipal code is a requirement that the property owner participate in a survey, which is required to the village by the state, but not property owners. We maintain our database of RPZs based on permits that are put in through the Community Development Department through our permitting process.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Vito. Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. Just to expound on Trustee Vito's question, so the townhomes, Wolf Crossing townhomes were built and they have fire suppression systems, right?
Yes.
Is that per unit that they need this check valve, or is it per building?
It depends on where the valves are, the check valves are. So sometimes it all depends on the design of the building. But a lot of times for the larger commercial buildings, it'll be one on the fire suppression system on the line coming into the facility. Since about 2018, they changed the plumbing code to require a single line service. So what used to be, a 3-inch line coming in for fire suppression and a 1.5-inch line coming in for domestic is now combined into a larger line. Maybe it's a 4-inch line. And so the RPZ would be in a mechanical room there. Most likely it would be a larger one. They'd only have one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Kruger, you had something?
Yes, thank you. Director Kalp, you're aware of Jackson Drive, right?
I am.
Everyone there has a potable well for their main water source. We are not on village water. Would this code affect anyone who has a private potable well that might have this kind of connection for fire suppression? I'm thinking of some homes that were recently built in the area that were required to put in fire suppression. So how do you get around that?
It would not. If it's not connected to our public water supply, we would not have, it would not be considered part of the database.
Have we ever changed from, any household in the community from a potable source to connecting to the village?
Oh, yeah, sure. We're looking to have a lot of the properties right now along Milwaukee Avenue, excuse me, hook up as soon as we finish the, we're looping the water main. A lot of those properties are right now, they're on private wells. Anything that's adjacent to new village-owned water main would be given the opportunity to hook up.
We unfortunately don't have that opportunity where I live, but will those original wells then be abandoned, or will they be allowed to be used for exterior irrigation or any other source with this kind of connection?
Well, if we run a public water main down the road, then, and if you hook up to the water main, then you'd have, that would be the water that would come into your house. I don't know. Are you asking, would you have two services?
Okay, so let's say by some miracle, my street gets access to public water.
Yes.
I personally would not want to abandon my original well because I'd want to use it for irrigation of my acre and a third, because otherwise that would cost me an awful lot of money. So would there be a provision that would allow someone who has a potable well that is now going to hook up to village water to maintain their well for exterior irrigation only?
That's an excellent question. I'll have to look into that. That would be something that would be codified. It would be in the municipal code. I'm not familiar with what the rule is.
Right, it would not be part of this program, and we would have to give you a more technical answer later. But there is a provision, I think, for properties that were annexed into the village. There is a provision that allows those wells to exist only for, as you said, for exterior, right.
That's what I thought, that it was part of the, some of the communities, not Jackson.
Where that line is drawn, though, I don't have.
I don't remember where it is either. I think it's, it could be Vera Edwards.
And that's, I know at least one of those properties on Edward, I think, is doing exactly that.
Right.
Where they didn't abandon it, they cut off the connection to the home, but it is still available for them to water their lawn.
Correct.
But we can get you the official.
Fair enough.
But in that scenario, a cross connection, an RPZ valve would definitely be required, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
clearly. So,
I would expect
all right,
that.
yeah,
I would
okay.
expect nothing less. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Left. If we've settled all that, we need a motion for approval as written.
So moved.
Second?
Trustee Lang, second trustee Kruger. Last one, almost.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Trustee Rafato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Lang? Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes,
Oh, I was going to say you didn't say yes.
if you like.
Can I say something in official communication?
Yeah. Have I ever stopped you?
No. I just want to thank everybody. It doesn't seem like 24 years, but I've been through a lot of staff and a lot of board members, and it's been a pleasure to work with all of you. I really enjoyed all 24 years. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Don't say anything. Okay, go, let's do approve.
But I wanted to.
No, you're not going to get away that easy.
You've been, I did actually want,
Huh?
everybody's going to talk. Most of them are going to talk. You got Kleenex. You have been like the one constant, like more than any one of us. Do you realize that?
Huh? No.
Yeah. No, I remember when you got elected.
You were trusted, what?
I was here in 95.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
I went through 3 or 4 managers.
Yes. Who's the best one?
Yeah. Yes, Clerk Simpson. Who's the best one?
You want to hold the sign up again?
They've all been
May I offer you a buntini?
All I can say is all the village managers have been interesting. All the village presidents have been extremely interesting, and the trustees are just perfect.
Oh, nice.
You never wanted to be a politician.
Well done.
I will really miss you. I'm sure, where did she go? She's gone. I'm sure Clerk Brady will do a fine job. I will miss you. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Trustee Papantos, you said something, everybody will get a chance. Trustee Vito after Trustee Papantos.
Elaine, I first met you in '90 when I started at LifeSource, and we worked together. You came up to me and said, "Are you with the FDA?" No, I work here. But it has been a treat to know you, an honor and a privilege. And, you know, I'm too close, so I will see you again, and I'm sure you'll be keeping up with what's going on in the village and give us hell if we don't do it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Vito?
Elaine, you will be sorely missed. It was a pleasure sitting next to you. I'm going to miss having someone to joke with and punch on the side under the table here and make a smart-ass comment to. And most importantly, someone to let me borrow a pen every week, so I will give you back the ceremonial borrowing of my last pen. Make sure Brady knows that she's got to give me pens every week. Thank you. Enjoy your retirement. It's been a pleasure working next to you and with you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
Elaine, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of one another. We'll still be seeing one another quite often. It's been a pleasure being up here with you. I just wish the last thing you did tonight would have been to introduce me or to call me by my given name, Trustee Wargo, as was often done.
I remember.
Especially in executive session. So anyway, good luck, and like I said, I'm sure we'll be seeing you.
Trustee Rufato?
Elaine, these 2 years, I've known you longer than that, but these 2 years have been truly enjoyable. Enjoy your retirement, though I know you're not going to really retire. There's going to be a lot of things that you're still going to be doing, and much happiness.
Thank you.
Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. Elaine, I just want to personally thank you for your years of dedication to this village. It has been clearly evident that you have seen a lot of progress and a lot of change over the years. But I did find a couple of factoids about your career I wanted to share. You have proudly served 5 village presidents over 24 years. Two of them were women. And you are also, thanks to that insert that the Journal on Topics did for our 125th year, where they had all the names of all the people that have ever served, you are one of the 15 women that have served this community in an elected position, and for that I am grateful.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you, and I know we're going to see you around, and now I'm going to have to go to Lollipop Lane and sit on Santa's lap by myself just because I have to see you. So best of luck with your retirement, and enjoy your time.
Thank you.
Trustee Lang?
I got nothing.
Got nothing?
No.
Did you see your face? It's great.
I always refer to you as Laney.
Yes.
And you didn't yell at me and say, hey, don't call me that. So I kept calling you that. And that was always my name for you. And I just want to say it's very much a pleasure working with you all these years.
Thank you.
Yeah, as President Horker said, you're one constant on this board, and you are. You outlasted all of us here, and we still have some time left.
Thank you.
But thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for saving Santa Claus. That was awesome. And John, you helped too.
Well, that was going to be my comment. Thank you for being one of the very few people who actually pronounced my name correctly. And while I will miss our time here, I very much look forward to planning any kind of emergency event with you in the future. So it'll be fun to find Santa and direct him through town or whatever you come up with. So I'm
I can still call when I want you to volunteer people.
You have my number.
Okay. Thank you.
Back to business. We have the bills for April 1st through April 14th, 2021. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos. Second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rufato?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger,
Yes.
trustee
How quickly they
Lang,
forget.
Yes.
She already
trustee
retired.
Vogel. Let's do
Sure.
Wargo.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. We have no executive session tonight. Commissioner Klump, nice of you to join us. It's nice when, yes? Oh,
I'm not known, I think, by any means, shape,
You got to come to the mic, though.
Elaine, thank you for everything, for the business stuff, the friendship, the breakfast, the whatever. Thank you. And that would mean not the park, but the park would have said it. Thanks.
all of that being said, we now need a motion to adjourn Clerk Simpson's last meeting. Motion?
So moved.
Trustee Kruger, second.
Second.
Trustee Lang, give us a roll call.
Let me do a roll call.
I want you to do a roll call.
Okay, trustee Rufato.
Yes.
Trustee Kruger.
No, I mean,
Trust-
yes.
Trustee Lang.
Yes.
Trustee Vogel.
Yes.
Trustee Papantos.
Yes.
And trustee Vito.
Yes.
And President Horker.
Yes.
Thank you all.
You gonna watch on Monday nights now?
Am I going to do what?
You gonna watch us on Monday nights and text us?
Oh, I would love to do that.
No texting. No texting until after the meeting.
Hey, this,
Thank you, Clerk Simpson.
No, technically, she's still in
I
office
still have to do it for the church, so
until
it
May
doesn't matter.
3rd.
I had to do it twice before. Last year, I had to do it twice.
You guys want a picture of all of you around you, Elaine?
Ooh.
yeah.
You can all take your mask off. I had my shots.